If you're a business owner and you feel this strange, uneasy, even sick feeling around AI, like you should be doing something, with it, but you don't really know where to start, then this video is for you. Because everywhere you look, people are talking about, prompts, tools, automation, and even productivity. But underneath all of that, there's a real concern sitting right there. You see, business owners aren't just curious about AI. They're really worried about what will happen if they ignore it, or better yet, what will happen if they get left behind. Will competitors move faster? Will staff roles change? Will customers expect, quicker response times? Will the business slowly fall behind, even without you noticing? So in this video, I just want to slow the whole conversation right down. I'm going to explain what AI actually means in business terms, why it feels disruptive, and why people are uneasy about it. And most importantly, what you can practically do right now to protect your business without turning into a tech project, that just doesn't make sense. Because most businesses, they don't need more tools, they need clarity. My name is G-Cornell, and I'm a business coach and mentor to startups, SMEs, and corporate organizations. I've been in business for 30 years, helping brands sell more of their products and services. And this channel, it's dedicated to helping people create their own destinies. So whether you're a young adult trying to find your path, or an entrepreneur, looking to grow your business, I will show you how to cope and succeed in your business journey whilst enjoying it along the way. So let's get into it. Now, before we start, I just want to let you know that you're not alone here. And I remember when I first heard about ChatGPT a few years back, and at first, I felt a sense of panic, and then the fear set in. What would happen to my digital marketing agency that I owned? Would I lose all my clients to AI doing the work for free? Would I lose all my employees? What would happen to all the work we produce for clients on a daily basis? And what would happen to my income? But most importantly, what would happen to me? But after the dust settled and, I got a clearer understanding of how I could turn those fears into opportunities, then everything shifted for the better. But it wasn't easy, and it certainly didn't just change for the better overnight. It forced me to look at my workflows. It forced me to reevaluate my offerings. It forced me to look at my team to see how they fitted into the equation. I spent many long nights doing research just to see how I could use it to my advantage. And last but not least, countless hours of client discussions to show them how our agency could help them achieve more with less to make their advertising and marketing more efficient, right? But as I see it right now, I see business owners sitting in, 3 different places. The first group are the ones who ignore AI, they're hoping it settles down, maybe it's hype, maybe it passes like other trends. One could even say that they got their heads in the sand. And then there's the second group, the ones who, they're experimenting with it. They've generated a few things, they've asked some questions, maybe even enjoyed it, but nothing in their business actually changed. And then there's the third group, and they're the quiet ones. They're not posting about AI, they're not talking about prompts, but their business is getting faster, smoother, and much more efficient. And that's the group that you should be concerned about. Because AI, it's not going to replace your business overnight, but a competitor who uses AI properly to its full potential will. And it won't happen suddenly, but it will happen gradually. And this is the group business owners need to worry about the most. But before we get into that part, right? Firstly, we need to understand what this actually means. People keep comparing AI to new software, but I can tell you this, it's not. This is much more aligned closely to the Industrial Revolution than it is to a new app or fad. The Industrial Revolution multiplied physical effort, One person could suddenly produce the work of many. And AI, it works in a similar fashion. It multiplies thinking effort, where one person can now process, analyze, and produce the thinking work of many. And that's why it feels unsettling. For the first time in history, technology isn't just helping our physical effort, it's helping our judgment and our ability to think like experts across many different market sectors, and all within minutes. And we genuinely don't yet know what the long-term impact will be, what it will mean for our business owners, for our employees, for careers, and that uncertainty is what people are feeling right now. Employees worry about being replaced, and I get it. Owners worry about falling behind. And everyone feels pressure to learn it whilst barely even understanding it. And this forces people to react in predictable ways. They either rush into the hype or they avoid it completely. But neither group is actually solving the real problem. And this is where the concerns sit. You see, AI has to be understood before it can be implemented. Because whether we like it or not, this isn't optional. It's here now, it's moving faster than we care to imagine, and we only get to choose whether we understand it early or later than our competitors. And here's the biggest misunderstanding that I'm seeing on a daily basis. AI, it's not a tool, but it's a new layer of labor. And when you look back at history, every major shift in business added labor. Machinery multiplied effort, computers multiplied calculations, and the internet multiplied communication. But where AI stands apart from everything we've ever seen over time is that AI multiplies thinking, and business has always rewarded the organizations that reduce delay. And I don't mean, the smartest businesses or the most talented businesses, but the ones that move sooner. And for me, this is why I wanted to discuss this part, because I can't emphasize enough how vitally important it is for business owners to understand why speed to market should be the main motivating factor here. So why do so many business owners open AI once and then never go back to it? Well, the short answer is that they're trying to learn software instead of trying to understand it. They open it and see a blank screen and then sit there wondering, what do I ask it for? Can I trust it? What if it's wrong? And then more often than not, they throw their hands in the air and tell themselves that they don't have time or, the patience to do it, right? So they simply shut it off. But the problem was never the tool. The problem was not knowing where it fits in and how they can utilize it effectively. You see, you don't start AI adoption with prompts. You start it with observation, because AI, it doesn't improve businesses by making them smarter. It improves businesses by removing delays. And look at the daily friction inside most businesses today, waiting to respond times, rewriting emails, thinking about wording, starting proposals late, or avoiding tasks that require mental effort. And I'm not referring to strategy or vision here. I'm talking about small hesitations repeated every day that compound and slow business down. And this is exactly the sweet spot for where AI lives. If used correctly, AI speeds up decisions, it creates consistency, it increases output without hiring, and more importantly, it shortens response times. And customers rarely choose businesses, because they're brilliant. They choose businesses because they're efficient in their delivery and competitive with their pricing. And now, this is where the competitive gap appears. And not because, one business has AI and the other don't, but because one business removes friction and the other one still carries it. Now, let's look at two identical businesses, right? The first one responds immediately, documents clearly, follows up reliably, produces regularly, and then reviews decisions weekly, right? While the other business replies when they can, they write everything from scratch, rely on memory, and delays heavy thinking tasks. And from the outside, customers don't see the technology within these businesses. All they see is reliability. And reliability quietly wins every time. But what is funny when you stop and think about it for a second, reliability has always been the key determining factor for success. It's nothing new, but now reliability and efficiency is what's going to win the race for business owners. So now that I've probably, made your head spin, right? You're probably wondering, well, where should I actually begin? Well, I can tell you now that you shouldn't make the same mistakes that you were making before. If you did open up that blank screen and wonder, you shouldn't start by trying to automate everything, not your workflows, and certainly not with your complicated prompts. You should start with the basics. For 1 week, I just want you to observe yourself, right? Notice every time you either repeat yourself, rewrite something, search for information, delay starting or avoiding work that requires thinking, and those right there, they're your AI entry points. Because AI isn't replacing expertise, or at least not yet, right? It should be used to reduce mental load, and adoption's behavioral. It requires a mind shift, a change in how we perceive things and how we approach new learnings, and not so much the technical ones, right? And first, it helps you think, then it helps you draft your ideas, then it helps you refine, and then it ensures you remain consistent. And just know that you don't need to turn into a tech company. All you need to do is to simply remove hesitation. And when hesitation disappears, then your output, it's going to increase naturally. So that real AI shift isn't about learning systems that you don't know how to implement into your business. It should be used to help you adopt leverage. And I can honestly say that for the first time in history, small businesses have access to thinking assistants that used to require teams of people. And the businesses that benefit the most, they're not going to be the ones that are chasing new AI tools that they don't even understand on how to use. They're going to be the ones who are removing delay and making their processes more efficient. And I suppose, what I'm really trying to emphasize here is that AI won't necessarily replace your business. But a competitor who uses AI properly, they will. And not because they're smarter, but because they've moved sooner than the competition. And this is where your opportunities as a business owner truly lie. Now, this wraps up my video today. And if you're serious about protecting your business, staying relevant, and making sure that you don't quietly fall behind as things change quickly, then start understanding where AI fits into your daily work right now. And like I said before, you don't need complicated prompts, and you don't need automated systems, automation, and you don't need to turn your business into a tech company like I said before. All you need to do is start removing the small points of friction, one step at a time. Because the businesses that adapt, if they adapt early, they won't feel disrupted later. And please feel free to leave a comment below and tell me where your business currently feels slow, as I'd love to generally read them, and it will also help me shape what I cover in my next video. So thank you very much for watching, and if you like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it, and you'd be the first to know when my next video drops. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Cheers.